Hi everyone, my name is Dash. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, you can expect projects such as this lamp or this chair I made out of recycled skateboards. That's going to be a big part of my channel where I recycle parts to make new projects. Or you can expect totally different content such as this electric skateboard. In the past few months, I've been wanting to change my style to break out of my comfort zone because, as you can see, when it comes to woodworking, I've kind of stuck to this straight lines, angled style, which I like, but I wanted to incorporate more curves, and that's why I wanted to try bend wood. And I did try bend wood this summer, but I wasn't totally satisfied. It wasn't enough for me. I wanted to bend wood to the extreme. And I came across this video from Chris Salamone from Four Eyes Furniture, who described the Rockler Try That Challenge. And I was like, wow, this is great. I have an opportunity to really try something new. So today I'm going to be showing you, as my entry for the Rockler Try That Challenge, how I made the Helix lamp and how I bent wood to the extreme. Enjoy the video. After sketching a few ideas, I made 3 models. I chose this design. Well, actually, my Instagram followers did too. Anyways, I also made the mold structure model, with which I would wrap the laminates around. For this project, I'm using oak, my favorite wood, and also the only easy to find hardwood. Here I'm cutting down the poplar sheet using the Kreg circular saw jig, which works really well. Not so good on dust collection since my DeWalt circular saw is really bad on dust collection. I then grabbed my jigsaw to cut out 2 circles, which will be used for the base of the mold structure and the middle. I then grabbed my drill and drilled all the holes correspondingly to where these sort of slats would need to be. And then I assembled them to the 2 circles using only screws, no glue, because I want to reuse this poplar for, workshop bits and bobs. What was complicated is I had to separate the poplar in 2 since it wasn't long enough. Anyways, it worked out, and the result was kind of a teepee looking thing. I then cut the boards in half using my table saw. I actually had a big fear of the table saw. Well, that seems pretty reasonable. Anyways, I conquered that fear, and here you see me cutting down each half using the Kreg jig. I don't know what it's called. The Kreg leaf jig, I think. And I cut down these pieces to 1 millimeter, would say, slats? Or maybe laminates. Anyways, here you see me testing out those laminates and bending them. Now I had to figure out how the hell am I gonna glue them together. After going through the web, I came across this YouTube video from Padula Studio, who makes amazing furniture. And here he used a vacuum bag or sac sous vide. So I decided to try buy one. The only thing I could find was a mattress airbag. And of course it never showed up. So I decided to use clamps and tape, duct tape. And it worked out pretty well. I tightened the tape and here's the result, or a test result. Now all I had to do was cut all the laminates and study 3 exams, including philosophy. So what I did is I listened to philosophy podcasts from Philosophize This, and it actually worked out pretty well. Then the terrifying moment came, gluing these laminates together. This was very stressful. Plus it was 1 in the morning when I was doing this. And here I actually made a big mistake, a big number 1 actually. Because as I taped it together, I forgot to realize I had to bend it, so it created tension when I tried to bend it, and I had to take all the tape off and tape it back together. That's why there was no footage. The result turned out okay, so I decided to keep on going and make the other laminates. This was very satisfying. It did take us 5 times to do it. And do you see that little piece of paper on that piece of wood? Well, my little stupid self decided that it was a good idea to leave it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's paper. It should glue with the glue. It should adhere. And that was a big, big mistake. You'll see why later in the video. Here you see me repeating the glue process, which was so much easier this time, since I kind of had the experience and I knew what I was doing. You know what? Actually, I take back what I said. It was equally as hard, since I put a little too much glue and the tape, for some reason, stopped sticking. And also I had a lot of glue on my hands. So I had to use the help of my friend, who you don't see here, who was actually filming. And I'll tag his Instagram. He films a lot of cars and takes amazing photos. So go check out his Instagram. Off camera, I made 2 square oak blocks, which I was going to use to connect the helix part of the lamp to the center copper pipe. Then I double-sided taped the oak block and glued it to a base, which I could clamp to the miter saw. But the miter saw couldn't cut all of it, so I had to finish it off with the hand saw. I clamped it together and I could see the lamp was starting to take shape. I trimmed off the excess with the router. Then, using some scrap wood I had laying around, I struggled to make a circle jig that I would use to make my own lampshade. To make the lampshade, I kept the wood bending theme, and I tried to bend a beautiful sugar maple veneer. And here you see a big uh-oh number 3, because I used tape to glue it together, and for some reason this tape ingrained itself in the wood. I fixed this problem by carefully sanding off the tape. And here you see me gluing together the circle jig I had made to the veneer. Now I'm using a jigsaw, since I didn't have the exact drill bit to cut this hole out, and a file to smooth it out. Then I cut out the contour of this attachment, which will be used to fix the light bulb to the lampshade. Remember that uh-oh number 1? Well, here I'm fixing it, since it made a giant gap on my glue up. I had to scrape off the paper and glue it back together. After having a general family meeting about the size of the lamp, I finally decided that my opinion was the best and cut it to the right size. After soldering all the wires together, I installed the light bulb and lampshade, and I was so happy it was taking shape. I then tried to do the satisfying roll again, and it wouldn't work. Finally, I was so happy I had sanded and sanded and sanded for hours, since I had so much glue on this thing, and I added the oil. I used a mineral oil, and I was so happy with the result.